What's up everybody? Thank you for watching another episode. Sorry I haven't uploaded lately. It's just been a crazy couple of weeks working on the car and also been really busy at work. There's been a lot of little changes that we've done. As you can see, engine's back out of the car again. It's a little bit of an ongoing joke at the moment between a few people of how many times it's been in and out. But this was expected. It's a full custom build and it's honestly easier to drop the car out to make any small changes. I am going to have a few heating issues which I'm worried about. So that is again why we've dropped the car out. I'm going to leave heat-proof sleeve over all the hoses. I've got a lot of it on, but some of this stuff is so close to wastegate pipes and the exhaust that I'm worried it's going to burn through. So there's a better grade of this that we can get. I've ordered that. Hopefully it'll turn up soon this week. I've also ordered a heat shield. So I'm going to make sort of a manifold heat shield. I'll keep it kind of clean and smooth because this does look good. I've also got Pete from Hypertune is going to make me a couple of wastegate pipes. So I've got these beautiful Garrett GV W40 wastegates on and they look absolutely spectacular. They are really nice, like the way they fit, the way they bolt up, the clamps, everything is beautiful. I'm going to admit, and I'll be honest with you guys, they do have a bigger head on them. It's just how it is. They are slightly bigger. However, they are coolant cooled as well. You don't have to run that, and I'm not going to run that. But sort of when I get a go fast bit wastegate and hold up against it, it's 10 mil in the head. So it's just a little bit of height difference. It does make it a little bit difficult. So if you don't have a lot of room, just be warned. If you've got heaps of room, they are the perfect wastegate to choose. The actual body of them is really good and stylish. So I'm happy with them. I've changed them over to AM3 fittings. Something just to be careful of with all the wastegates is a lot of people get these fittings mixed up for -8 MPT. -8 MPT will screw in, but it only goes in, half a dozen threads and then it stops. The issue is they actually will work. So if you wind a -8 MPT into the wastegates, they will work. It's the wrong thread. They're a M10x1, what the actual thread is. If you use an M10x1, you get a little washer which is called a dual seal and that'll seal up perfectly. So M10x1, not -8 MPT. A cool little thing that I'm sort of doing is I'm getting ready for the turbo exhaust back pressure. So turbo exhaust back pressure, because this is a twin scroll manifold, we have to have two, one for each side. So this side will do the first 3 cylinders, 1, 2, 3. This one will do 4, 5, 6. So what we have to do is run a copper line, probably reel off a meter of it, then curl it up, so wind it up in a nice coil. That'll dissipate the heat enough, and then we run it to our Raceworks sensors. So I've actually got this cool little Raceworks sensor block, and then these are Raceworks Euro 100 PSI fuel pressure sensors, but they are fine to use as exhaust back pressure sensor. So fuel pressure sensor, exhaust back pressure sensor, same sensors. I think that's going to look really sick, especially in the car. And we can actually mount that with the sensors that way or the sensors up. There's numerous different ways. So that'll sort out our turbo back pressure sensors. What else are we going to do while the car's out? I've been speaking to Jamie from Raceworks, who's helped me out immensely with this build, and he sort of brought up double feeding the fuel line, the fuel rail, which I think is an awesome idea. So what we're going to do is, this is our Raceworks fuel rail. We're actually going to feed it up this end, and then we're going to run a tube along the top and feed it from both ends. Then we'll have our return coming from the center of it back to the fuel pressure reg, our Raceworks pulsation dampener, and then back to the tank. So that'll be nice and handy. That's pretty well it. Lots of wiring to change over. The dump pipe hits on the AC lines, just heaps of things that are absolutely chaotic and doing my head in at the moment. So yeah, the dump pipe needs to be slightly turned and the AC lines need to be slightly moved because the dump pipe itself doesn't hit the AC lines, it's the O2 sensor bung hits. So we'll get rid of the O2. We're not going to run 2 wide bands for now. I just want to get the car going. So we're going to grab the Raceworks fuel rail, put it back on, and then we can sort of map out how we're going to plumb it this time. And we can probably do it easier while the engine's out, because we can just sort of measure up and plumb it to the supply line. Make sure we get that Raceworks logo facing the front. That's the deal there. I'm just fitting the headlights while I can't figure out where the hell to run the lines for the exhaust back pressure sensors. So what I'm doing is fitting the headlights. What I'm going to do is just show you a quick tip. I'm not going to show you how to wire the headlights up because it's all factory. It's literally just plug in. But what there is here is there's an earth lead right there. See that little sucker there? So these are obviously on a lot of older cars where they need an earth that's either near the end of the sensors, or it's near the headlights that it's turning on, or whatever it may be. What I want to do is this, because it's a whole freshly painted car, there's obviously no scratches or any sort of wear marks back to the metal. So when we hook this earth strap up here, it's actually not going to go to earth. It's literally just going to bolt up to paint. So what you need to get yourself is what's called a star washer. So I use these ones here. They're stainless steel because I use them for the marine. And I use them all the time on anything that's earth related or got to do with electrical, because as you do it up, it gets a really good bite. So as you do it up, it bites down. The star washer digs into the freshly paint and just digs in and touches the steel. Doesn't scratch it off and cause a massive rust issues or anything like that. It literally just bites down hard, so you get that good continuity. So what we have got with us today, an awesome new package from Raceworks, and it's the new Turbo Smart FPR8. So the new fuel pressure reg, they are very similar to the old ones. I'll get the new one out and I'll show you the old one. The new fuel pressure regs are called FPRs, fuel pressure reg, and then they go FPR8, FPR6 or FPR10, and what it is, it stands for the orb size. So this is a -8. So compared to the old ones, which used to be FPR 2000, which used to stand for horsepower, so 2000 horsepower. So this fuel reg is capable of flowing back to the tank 2000 horsepower. So the size is probably slightly smaller. There's not a great deal in it. Aesthetically, they do look a little bit more pleasing, especially with the adjustable fuel pressure reg on top. The adjusting bit, it's a lot smaller. And also the mounting bracket is probably the biggest one. So this bracket actually bolts to the fuel reg, and if you don't want to use the bracket, you can literally like bolt in through whatever you're mounting it to and into the housing, whereas these old ones used to just have a clip that went onto a flimsy sort of bracket onto the side. So the biggest thing is the bracket in this sense. So we're going to swap it over. You don't really see it because it's up under the intake manifold, but because we've got a new bracket, I might actually mount it to the body of the car. The thing we've been working on is the exhaust back pressure sensors. So this is the copper nickel pipe that we've got wound up in coils. Now I will spread those apart a little bit more. So had a really awesome package turn up from Raceworks, which was their heat sheathing, and I'll find you some because it's the best. So I was having a lot of issues with hoses and clearance and things that were going to go really close to the manifold. Now I've seen far too many YouTuber cars, especially Samet, I'm going to throw you under the bus. When you first built your S15, the thing nearly caught on fire. You had to use a fire extinguisher and it wrecked everything. So could you imagine a billet block with a fire extinguisher on it? The fire extinguisher, it's very sulfuric, so it would just eat the whole thing away. So I have to be super careful with how I run all my lines because I do not want anything to catch on fire. So Raceworks have got this awesome 16mm ID heat-proof fiberglass sleeving. Now, if you have something that's going to be running close to the turbine housing or the exhaust or screamer pipes, as long as it's got an air gap clearance and you've got this on it, it'll be fine. So a couple of the aluminium fittings is probably what is the main thing I want to protect here, because those aluminium fittings can turn a funny color when they get a lot of heat to them. And as you can see down through here, it is so close to, because the wall of the engine bay is like right there, the strut tower, so it's nearly pushing these on that. So very close. I've also got blocks actually need crankcase breathers. So I've actually got two dash 12s coming from the crankcase, which is almost like going to a catch can. It's not a catch can though, it's just a crankcase breather assembly. Got the dump pipe on. I've got all those hoses all heat proofed and protected. So we can, once we pick up the intake manifold from Brad tomorrow, we can slip that on and the engine can go back up in the car, and then it's pretty well home straight then. So it's just wiring loom sensors. We've got a lot to work with Mitch up at Zolly Motorsport in Cairns. We're going to have our arse hanging out to get this thing going now. So yeah, lots of AN lines changing around and moving them, but yeah, the engine's out again. Just seemed easier to do it that way. So yeah, also put the headlights and the indicators back in, which have come up really well. Actually, there's a little mark on it there. But yeah, I tidied these things up. We were going to replace these with N1 headlights, so the garage active N1 headlights. I don't know if I'm going to do that now, because I think these headlights look really good with the KH2, but it would be nice to have M1 headlights in it. We'll see how we go. Oh! Home time, bitches. Rightio, so we're just up here at the Fish and Drift compound with Brad. So what we got going on here is, this is the Wiggins style clamps that I've been raving on about or harping on about for a while now. So this is Raceworks new clamps, and what Brad's actually going to do is he's actually going to tidy it up and get rid of the weld mark that we left from the fabricator. So he's actually using like a metal bond compound that he's sort of, so we don't actually grind off the weld and ruin it structurally. It's actually just sort of ground down a little bit, then he wipes this over, and if you can see how it goes on, this slips on like that, and then it's going to have no weld mark there at all, which is pretty damn awesome. So I don't know if I can do this with one hand, and there we go. Just so see how it goes on like that, so there's no weld. How cool is that? So the plenum unfortunately needs to be painted again, but Brad assures me he can get it perfect. Yeah, if you want to see the full details of the plenum build and Brad painting all the intercooler pipes, jump on over to Fish and Drifts, and he's doing a full episode on how he done the world's best Nismo intake.
3 days later.
Holy moly, have a look at this thing. Check it out, eh? Far out. That's what you ordered, mate? That's what I ordered. So this weld here, what did you do? You just smoothed it?
Yeah, so that got smoothed out with a bit of bond.
Yep.
Same as this side here. That's mostly panel bond.
Yeah.
There's limited bog in there, so you know.
Just the pipes, the ones that, like this one here will be seen, that's in the actual engine bay, and then this one here is down behind the bumper, so Brad didn't do it, but even that looks insane. Seeing that well painted like that looks really cool. So this is so sick. I can't wait to get these on. This is sort of the biggest thing we've been waiting on, so now we can sort of put the car together. And as again, you can see here that Brad's decided to smooth these welds out, because you will see those ones, whereas this one you won't see. I'm stoked. I can't wait to go get these on, and I'm sure Raceworks are going to be very happy with how their clamps look. And what's really cool about this is actually a original HKS intercooler pipe, which has now been modified. So to me, that's absolutely awesome, having HKS pipes still on the car. And even this one over here, So this one, which mounts the blow-off valve, that's actually HKS as well. So we've still sort of managed to have HKS intercooler pipes, and we've just put clamps on them. So it's pretty cool. This in Australia is what we call beer, proper beer.
Make sure you head to Nori Factory. Oh, no, that's right, we're already on that channel.
Wrong channel. He's given it to me because we were recording before and I went to the wrong channel because we were doing 2 takes. So apparently they're funny over at Fish and Drifts.
Ah, we go right, eh? No perfect content there, mate. Cheers.